Welcome back, FUBAR here, and today we are discussing the newly changed damage and damage resist that was just sent in the mail today, and we're going to read over this mail so that way everyone understands it properly. We're going to read the mail together. So, damage and damage resist limit optimization is the title. Recently, we have received a lot of feedback from our commanders regarding our decision to limit damage and damage resist bonuses in battles. Many of you felt that this change made certain upgrades unusable on the battlefield and wasted resources. With this in mind, we decided to make the following adjustments. The limit to damage resist will no longer apply to damage resist bonus from the following certain mechanics. Damage and damage resist skills from officer tactical skills, passive skills, awakened skills, and officer training skills. Bonuses from buff items, United We Stand, which increases the damage of garrison troops, Bastion of Iron, which increases the damage resist of your base wall, damage and damage resist bonuses from your fortified wall, including damage and damage resist bonuses versus Air Force troops, and bonuses to the collection truck damage resist from the Conquest Cairo techs. So what this means is that all those officer pairings I had made about 2, maybe 3 weeks ago are now valid again. So we're going to cover those officer pairings in this video because they're kind of OP and they're really powerful. So starting off, for if you're running a helicopter, a light tank, or even an MBT, a very good OP pairing would be Valkyrie with Golden Eagle. As you can see, my Golden Eagle is almost awakened, so I'm very excited for this. Now, double stacking troop damage increase is going to be a big factor in this. So, White Wolf's second skill is now valuable again. So is Bloody Mary's second skill, Death Adder's second skill, and any other officer that has these skills of damage and damage resist, like Argent Flame's 20% damage resist skill, Lady J's 20% damage resist skill, and the list goes on. This makes everything much more valuable again. So back to the officer pairings. Lady J with Golden Eagle is a great pairing for light tanks. Reason why? She offers a slowdown effect. Golden Eagle does additional armor damage per round with his tactical skill. This is huge, especially when now that lights are the main focus is taking down helicopter groups, and this will be very viable. And also, this will also help against other units such as the MBT to mitigate the damage when you're trading. Also, this will be effective against SH units. An OP pairing for infantry, I would recommend Golden Eagle yet again. Golden Eagle is a flex unit, so he's good on infantry, artillery, and also MBT, light tank, helicopter, so on. He's good on everything. So it would be actually Golden Eagle and Iron Bastion. The reason why I recommend Iron Bastion is because of his tactical skill allows him to strike 3 additional targets. All right. So let's take a look. He does additional damage to fortifications. He does 35% extra damage to bases and fortifications. He gets a 35% troop buff, health HP buff. He gets a firepower buff of 30% and additional firepower buff when in bunker mode of 10%. And here it is. Throws an explosive charge, dealing damage to an enemy of damage coefficient of 1300 when leading an infantry troop. This skill does an additional 50% damage to bases and fortifications. Thrown charges explode again after 2 seconds, dealing damage to the target and all enemies within the map grid of the target. Damage coefficient of 450%, 20% damage for each additional target. So you're damaging multiple targets at once, and this is a very potent combination instead of one target where most of the time as an infantry, you don't want to move when you're in your bunker, so because you get that additional damage resist. Now you're not just single targeting; you're hitting multiple targets, which will help you get more kills and do more damage. Now for rocket trucks, a very OP pairing, but it's going to be very hard to get, would be Lady Liberty with Antonina. The reason why is because you'll now have 5 grids. With that, all those combinations there, it will be really powerful. Now, another good combination for howitzers that I recommend would be, especially if you're running dual, because now that if you're running 2 howitzers, you can actually now have 2 howitzers at 5 grids. If you have Lady Liberty awakened and Antonina, you can use Antonina and Golden Eagle. You can use Antonina and also Tiger Marauder. He does good skill damage once he's awakened. The key word, he has to be awakened. You can run Antonina and Argent Flame. And also, you can run Eye of Providence with Antonina. Very powerful combinations, especially if you're stacking the troop damage. Now, to get to the cut to the chase, okay? Me and one other individual were working on something, and he was the one that brought it to my attention. He saw my videos and he hopped in to my Discord and he was like, "Hey, man, I've been doing the math, I've been doing the work, and I'm going to introduce him in a second." And he was putting in all this effort. He was trying to get a hold of Lilith's support and everything, figuring everything out. And he's from Server 15, the Alliance Syndicate, and his name is Nepper. He's an awesome dude. And what he figured out before they made this damage and damage resist change was that if we stacked up the firepower on these officers and double stacked them, your raw damage of firepower would increase by 30%, up to 30% of your alpha damage or your raw damage, which is your firepower multiplied by the fire rate divided by your accuracy. And that's your raw alpha damage. But this is before buffs, before adding up officer skills and everything else. That is your raw damage that calculates into the figure. So he managed to figure out that adding that up was still not going to, it would still be better to add the damage and damage resist. I mean, the damage, troop damage buff still, because you still had more damage coming out even after the nerf for then. But now that that's changed, everything's way more powerful. So this is going to be really good for us free-to-play players still going up against whales, because with whales, this is only affecting the research and pretty much the research side, the base skin side, and possibly affecting camp buff. We have to test that. And also, he did some homework. Nepper also did some homework on the camp buff and was able to confirm with Lilith support that if you say you're running a 6-unit army, you get an 18% damage buff to your troops and damage resist buff to your troops, along with your base getting a damage resist buff and a damage increase as well. However, the popular theory was that if you had another 2 units of the same camp in that buff, only the 6-unit camp buff would be applied to all units. However, Lilith managed to figure out and he figured out from Lilith that if you had the additional 2, those 2 units will get the 2-unit bonus, meaning your maximum buff from the camp buff will be 20%. Now, this is a little bit harder to calculate down the road because you need to be flexible with building your camp buff up, because it's very hard to build multiple units of the same camp now with modern units, because before you could just go 7.2 and then start building up. So it's going to take a while. However, I will be sorry about that. Pop-ups can't control it. But anyway, as I was saying, the best way to build units now is like when you're building one camp up to 9.2, you should be looking at the other two camps and building another unit to 7.2, because the time it takes to build one 9.2 unit and gathering all the bullets, the refined components, the gears, and even the wrenches to get it up to 100, you need, and also having the right officers for it, you need to stack. You can build two 7.2 units, well, one 7.2 unit per camp. So for me, I'm building up my helicopter. I will have a Marder bomber done and a Vanguard fighter. When I'm working on my rocket truck, I will be building my next Liberty unit and possibly two Liberty units, because I focus only on Liberty with my unit drawing. So I get always that five. When I draw 100 cards and I pull a 5-star, I'm always picking Liberty. So I'm gonna be building units even faster there. Also, another OP officer, not in the sense of damage, but in the sense of damage resist, will be Whipcracker and Guardian of Truth. All right, Whipcracker is the female variant, in my opinion, of Guardian of Truth. Together, they both have 25% damage resist when awakened. So that means a 50% damage resist buff. And now, if we stack that damage resist with Lady J's damage resist of 20% and Argent Flames, now that is at 90%. And if we stack, well, in my case, a 5 camp bonus, that will be an additional 15%, putting it at 105. If you were running a 6 camp bonus, that's 108. And if you are also running that double pair, that now is 110% damage resist, which is a huge number. Insanely huge. I recommend that combo on the MBT. So, with that said, I hope this video was helpful. If you did find it helpful and you enjoyed the video, please like, comment, and subscribe, and turn on the bell for notifications. Thank you so much. I hope you all having a great day. And remember, I got your 6.